I thought I'd change things up today. Instead of reviewing coffee, I'd review this tome by Nora Roberts, The Becoming. Never before has a work of literature moved me so much as, and I'm just kidding, this is not a book review. I have not read this book, but this book is important for purposes of today's review. Today's review is going to be a coffee connected to the author Nora Roberts. I'm not a fan of Nora Roberts. I've read a couple of her books, actually, because my wife is a huge fan of Nora Roberts, and I think she's a very good writer, and who knows, maybe if I read more of them, I'd be more of a fan. For those who don't know, she's extremely successful. She's penned, as of this review, I think over 200 books, both under her name as well as her pseudonym, J.D. Robb. I guess she's really known as a romance writer, but from what my wife tells me, and from what I can tell from my own reading, that's really not an accurate descriptive term. Yeah, there's romance in it, but there's oftentimes mystery or some sort of historical fiction. There's fantasy elements in some of her newer books, apparently. But why I want to touch on her in particular is just the story behind it. For Christmas, I decided to get something for my wife connected to Nora Roberts. I wanted to get a signed book. And it turns out I could actually buy one if I went to a bookstore that's based out of Boonsboro, Boonsboro, Maryland. I looked more into it as to why this particular bookstore had all of these signed books by Nora Roberts, and it turns out she owns it. So I dug a little deeper into it, and I found out something pretty fascinating. Nora Roberts, besides being massively successful, and you have to understand that this is an author that Stephen King calls awesome. So, I mean, if Stephen King calls you awesome, as far as I'm concerned, you've got cred. She, besides being prolific and very successful, apparently really cares about her town. I think she was born in Maryland or close to Maryland. Actually, I know she was born in Maryland, and I believe she lives in a city very close to where she was born, if I'm not mistaken. And I guess she just looked around and realized that the town, it wasn't going anywhere, but it had a lot of things it needed, such as a gym. And so she opened up a gym, and she made sure that everyone in town could afford to go to the gym. She opened up a bookstore, which brings me kind of to the coffee. There's a bookstore there called Just One More Cup. No, actually, it's called Turn the Page Bookstore. Turn the Page Bookstore. And in it, they package coffee. It's called Just One More Cup, artisan roasted coffee. They use a Dublin Roasters coffee, which I don't know anything about, but it's been voted best coffee in Frederick, Maryland, which I guess is the sister city to Boonsboro. In addition to that, she opened up an inn. And from what I can gather on the articles, this is a situation where it's not just a celebrity giving back or a successful person giving back to their town. This is a successful person who's basically building, the economic structure on their work in the past, benefiting everyone in town. And I find that just to be quite fascinating. I know that's a lot more information than I give in these reviews, but this review is actually more of a love letter to my wife. She loves Nora Roberts quite a bit, and I thought I would share a little information about her. Not that a lot of people need to know about her because she's so highly successful, but at the same time do a little bit of a review on the coffee itself. So the coffee itself is called Eve Dallas Blend. It's a whole bean. I got the 1 pound bag. It came very swiftly, packaged nicely. I mean, it's just a regular stick-on bag and everything, but it was nice and sealed. It's a good bag. The smell on it is it's very full. It's a very full roasted smell. And Eve Dallas, I guess for those fans out there, I guess that's a character in one of her books that she writes under a pseudonym under J.D. Robb, who I guess is a police officer. So it's kind of funny when you think about it. So you have a police officer's favorite coffee. I wonder if they have Eve Dallas donuts there as well. So I have brewed it 3 different ways. I have brewed it regular drip, and all the mugs are connected to my wife as well. This is the mug from the place in Hendersonville, North Carolina. We went to Black Bear Coffee, I believe is what it was called. I think it's cute. Nice little mug. I did in cold brew. Now, we didn't get to go to this place together, but when I went up to Massachusetts, I was thinking about her, and this is the Cheers mug. And then I did one in espresso. The espresso I put in a Jane Eyre cup. Yes, I know it's not an espresso cup. It doesn't really matter. I don't think so. So I'm going to move in the order of cold brew to the drip to the espresso. and I'm going to give you my true opinion on it. Keep in mind, we are not supported by Nora Roberts or Turn the Page Bookstore. We didn't get any of this stuff for free. If we ever get anything for free, or if we're ever sponsored, which I don't think we ever will be, we would share that information with you, and it wouldn't affect the review. But here, obviously, there's no way it could, because we aren't supported in any way by them. So let's start off. So we have the cold brew here. It's a solid cold brew. It's not acidic. It's not basic. It's just a nice, even cold brew. It's actually really good. Obviously, it's not a flavored coffee, so I'm not going to be pulling out the flavor notes that are put in by other companies. But it's just a really good, solid cup of coffee. If I were to go to a store and I got a cold brew and I got this, I'd be pleasantly surprised, because, as you guys know, as I've said before, a lot of the store-bought coffees, where you get out of the store and they make them for you, they either track bitter or they track sour. That's solid. Okay, so we'll move to the drip coffee. I think I know what to expect here, given the taste of that cold brew. Let's see. That's a pleasant surprise. That's solid. That has a good flavor. It has a very warm flavor, not just because of the temperature, but the warmth itself. I think I prefer it more in the drip, actually, than the cold brew. The cold brew is refreshing. Standard coffee, like I said, very good. This, on the other hand, this is black. It's not flavored in any way whatsoever. This has, hold on. I'll tell you where it hits in the back. It hits in the back of the tongue, the sides and back of the tongue. A little bit of a bite, which is good. It's not an overpowering flavor. It's nice coffee. Now, I don't know what's going to happen here. I know you're not supposed to use every bean for espresso, and I know that some people are going to get pissed off when I do that, but I like to see what it does. I wonder if it'll create almost like a burn. Let's see. Wow. Okay. These are all very different flavors from the exact same bean, just made now. I'll walk through them again. With the cold brew, that's a 24-hour cold brew at room temperature, just so you know. Didn't put in the fridge just to cool it down. Refreshing, even keel. No bite, no acidity, no sourness. Like I said, refreshing. The drip. The drip is a little more earthy. Still not sour, still not really biting, but a little bit on the back of the tongue, or the sides of the back of the tongue. It's I wouldn't say it's robust. I guess it would be medium, maybe a little more than medium. If there were going to be any notes to it, there might be maybe a hint of chocolate, maybe, just ever so slightly. And then we move to the espresso. On the espresso, it opens up the flavor completely. I can feel it from the front of my tongue, middle of the tongue, back of the tongue, and it's very pleasurable. It's not sour. It's not overly earthy. It's not basic. It doesn't taste acidic. It's just good. That's just straight good coffee. So that's a big thumbs up. I'm glad that went well. I'm glad I could say it went well. But so Eve Dallas Blend from Just One More Cup at Turn the Page Bookstore in Frederick, Maryland, owned by Nora Roberts and her husband, and I guess her family. I guess that's a big thumbs up. So thank you, Miss Roberts, for the joy that you bring my family through your writing to my wife. And thank you for this wonderful coffee. And to my wife, I love you, and I hope this is a little bit of a gift to you. Keep tasting like a boss.